Bear fans should be really excited because he's going to make big plays.
Rome's going to light it up. It's going to be electric.
Rome is there to win.
One on me, 1 on 3, 1, 2, 3.
What a catch from Odunze! And it's caught!
When I step on the football field, just worry about playing ball. From that first time I put on pads, I dreamed of being, at this level.
My name is Dr. James Odunze. I am Rome's grandpa. This is baby Rome.
I got my name for Rome. I call him Pretty Man, right from the day he was born.
I traveled from Nigeria in 1972, and I was all by myself. I had $72 in my pocket. It was a new experience altogether. I came from a noble family. My dad was a king. The significance of the name Odunze, that is the ivory of a king.
It means everything. It's a big part of, who I am and my identity. To be able to, have that on the back of my jersey, it's a blessing.
This photograph here is when my village people, they visited us. That's a little Rome.
What my grandparents have done, sacrificed to get me to this point, and what they did for, my aunts and uncles, my father, it means a lot to me and something that I try and carry with every day.
I'm Nisha Bunnell, and I'm Rome Odunze's mother. Rome was born in Orem, Utah, and we moved to Las Vegas when he was about 3 years old. From a very young age, he was observant. He was able to recognize the efforts that were being put forth in order for both of his grandparents to provide for their families. It definitely has shaped him.
James Odunze, Rome Odunze's father.
Been dedicated to football for a long time, but we didn't want to play in football year round. Even though in youth sports you can kind of do that, you can go from one season into one season.
I always tell people my first coach was my dad, so he was out there from day one coaching me football and always demanding a lot from me, which I respected, and I continue to appreciate to this day because I think it instilled high expectations for myself.
There was a game he played in when he was about 10 where he had to have had over 300 yards, both passing and rushing, and maybe 4 or 5 touchdowns. One of the opposing team's fathers came over and said, is that your young boy? I said, yeah, it's my son. He said, I'll be looking for him in the NFL in the next about, he said, 10 years in the future.
Jack Waldron, Rome Odunze's former youth football coach. This is our first trophy we won with Rome. This is the national championship trophy we won in 2010. He won the national championship on the last play of the game with a 90-yard run against a team that nobody thought we had a chance against. And then this is our last trophy we won with Rome. He actually, at halftime of this game, was rewarded MVP of the league at this one. And I think he had like 5 touchdowns in the game, and we blew the team out for the championship.
Jack means everything. He is family. Being able to play underneath him, he instilled so much confidence in me in the sport and love for the sport as well. On the field, he pushed us, and it helped that we won a lot of games and had a lot of fun with it as well. So he was a tremendous coach to me, and then also, being able to go to his house with the whole team after practices and after, championship games.
He had such a high football IQ at a young age that I could explain things to him that most people wouldn't understand. Good to his teammates, just a lot of fun to be around, just like he is today. We got Rome in a slot, and then he's gonna do his thing like he always does. So we'll see him motioning this way and doing what he did best, and that was score touchdowns. Breaking tackles, and there he goes, right down the sideline.
Reading box, Devin Hester into the open field. And Hester picks up another block. Devin Hester, the punter to beat. He beat him. Devin Hester, all the way. Touchdown, Chicago Bears.
It was Devin Hester wore 23, so I wanted to wear 23. Just looking up, Devin Hester on the computer, and I remember it. It was, Catch Me If You Can by Lil Wayne, playing in the background, and it was all of his punt returns and his kick returns, and I would just click, watch it, click again, click again, click again. Like, I don't know, I was just in awe of that.
I don't know if people know that Rome ran track. So he ran it as a youth, and then when he started high school as a freshman, he ran track. He also set some records in the state at the time and won some state championships. But the whole purpose of him running track was really to improve upon his speed so that he could be a better football player, and I think it worked out for him.
Oh man, Rome in high school, it was stressful. It was stressful for sure. You know, I'm coming from just loving playing football to find, you know, my place among these, you know, all these superstars. And I felt like, you know, a little bit I was treated like that way, like a small fry, which I wasn't used to. You know, Jack never treated us like that. So it was a little bit of navigating to do, along with some injuries that, you know, my sophomore year broke my collarbone, so that was tough. Remained determined and leaned on my family and, you know, my loved ones to get me through, and picked it back up junior, senior year and made some plays and, you know, got some offers.
So this one is fun. Rome's first vehicle was a manual, so he learned how to drive on a manual transmission, which I don't think many kids his age know how to drive a manual, but we called it the Hoopty because it was the old car that he would drive to Bishop Gorman.
You know, it was what it was. You know, it got me point A to point B. You know, her name was Jessica, and she was very, you know, very, very dear to my heart. Honestly, she was a great car. I always, from the moment I started playing football, I was like, I want to make it to the NFL. I could probably look after my junior year and what had happened, and, you know, where I was at in the rankings of college players, and be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna make it. I'll probably be all right. Determination means how consistent you're willing to be through, you know, all the different obstacles and challenges that life throws at you. It's easy for people to be determined when it's always green and you don't go through those challenges. I feel like the real test of determination is when, you know, things go off schedule.
I felt Rome was the best athlete in the draft. And I believe he enters into the league as one of the best athletes, one of the best representations of what it means to be a football player in the NFL.
I mean, I've been playing football since I was 6 years old, so, you know, from that first practice, from that first time I put on pads, I dreamed of being, you know, at this level of play through middle school, through high school, lots of tough times, and got to college and it was the same way. You know, you can, you know, look up the research on my 2 first seasons at UW and my 2 last seasons at UW and the change in that.
For the end zone, forget being patient. Odunze and Washington.
He caught that touchdown, won the game basically, and then the crowd started rushing the field. And my wife and I and my son Jace that played with him, we decided to go down on the field. Came over and gave me a big hug and turned around and the whole crowd was there and he yelled, "This is my youth football coach."
Yeah, that was, you know, a surreal moment. You know, it's one of those things in my head. I just think about it, I just start smiling. He's an Oregon diehard, and you know, to be able to beat them like in front of him, and like he don't even care. You know what I mean? You can tell him he was an Oregon fan in that moment.
With the 9th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze, wide receiver, Washington.
Very proud of Rome. Little, if any of that has to do with football, just has to do with who he is as a human being.
That young man worked diligently and he persevered. He is not an ordinary athlete, and Rome has made us all proud.
People get to see Rome at the top. You don't get to this point in your career without having put in that hard work.
I mean, I think my whole career at every single level has been, you know, working in the dark so that way I can have, you know, success in the light. Being a Chicago Bear is very inspiring. It makes me want to, you know, go out there and make those plays. So the next, you know, Rome Odunze, next Devin Hester is, you know, watching my videos and saying, hey, you know, I want to be like that.